gremlins! Today I'm learning about another aesthetic. Usually I start these videos with a clip of me spinning my wheel of aesthetics, but today is going to be a little bit different because I've received my first ever request to cover a specific aesthetic. So today we'll learn about Pastel Goth. Before I get started, I want to mention quickly that my channel's second birthday just passed. For a combination of the end of Halloween season and celebration of 2 years, all the Halloween-themed shirts remaining on my Etsy will be 20% off for the rest of November. Check out the unique hand-painted designs through the link in my description. Also, I'm once again trying another new audio setup, and I'll keep trying new setups until I find one that sounds good, so sorry if the audio quality has been inconsistent recently. Pastel Goth is a fashion aesthetic that gained popularity on Tumblr in the early 2010s. The style comes from mixing elements of goth, soft grunge, and the kawaii aesthetic. Pastel Goth had a more recent rise in popularity in the early 2020s, alongside the e-girl style. Pastel Goth, despite the name, isn't as tied to the goth subculture as other types of goth. While some pastel goths do like goth music, the music isn't a central part of the pastel goth aesthetic. It is a visual and fashion aesthetic above everything else, at least according to the aesthetic wiki, which was my main source for this video. Pastel Goth has a very recognizable color palette and a lot of visuals that appear throughout the aesthetic. As the name suggests, Pastel Goth involves a lot of pastel colors, especially pastel pink, purple, and mint green. Alongside those pastel colors is a lot of black. Visuals include pastel skies and galaxies, inverted crosses, dripping things, such as dripping fonts and one specific design of legging with a slime dripping pattern, eyeballs and eyeball bows, skeletons and bones, bats, the yin-yang symbol, black cats, unicorns, sparkly things, edits of Disney characters dressed in pastel goth outfits, and gradient filters on photographs. A lot of these visuals are very 2010s Tumblr, such as Galaxy and Disney character edits. I wasn't on the internet yet in the 2010s, but I definitely remember Galaxy everything. Pastel Goth is mostly a fashion aesthetic. A lot of Pastel Goth outfits involve a lot of feminine clothing like skater skirts, lace, ruffles, and a lot of pastel colors. They also have a lot of layers, especially layers of socks and stockings, as well as layered jewelry. One iconic part of the fashion look is pastel dyed hair, either completely dyed a pastel color or dip dyed. Pastel Goth clothing items include oversized cardigans, sweaters, and hoodies, pastel denim vests, skeleton print tights, dripping slime tights, lace ankle socks, leg warmers, Doc Martens and creeper shoes, and skater skirts or plaid skirts. Accessories include eyeball bows, flower crowns, studded or spiked headbands and chokers, tattoo chokers, chains, pastel beaded bracelets, and cross necklaces. Pastel Goth isn't an aesthetic I wear, although I've definitely tried it out before. I love a lot of the imagery connected with it. I'm just not a fan of pastels, and pastels are kind of important to this aesthetic. However, I do love this aesthetic's look on other people. I gave this particular Pastel Goth character a lot of the iconic Pastel Goth clothing items and accessories, and it was really fun to draw them all. I put her hair in space buns, which was a popular Pastel Goth hairstyle, and the buns are secured with eyeball bows. She has an oversized hoodie with a ribcage graphic on the front, a plaid skirt, and layers of stockings and socks. My color palette for this image is a lot of pastel purple and pink, with some accents of mint green. Her ribcage hoodie is light purple with black bones. I'm also really happy with the wrinkles in the hoodie. I've been trying to get better at warping fabric. Fabric wrinkles are surprisingly difficult to make look right. This character's hair is dyed light pink, and the bows in her hair are green for some contrast. Her roots are growing out a little, and her natural hair color is brown. I also made her eyebrows brown, although not until after I accidentally colored them in pink. This character's skirt is the darkest element of her outfit, besides her shoes, which I'm getting to. It's black, with light pink stripes, and helps offset the amount of pastel in the image. In my research of Pastel Goth outfits, I saw a lot of people who wear mismatched knee-length socks over fishnet or patterned stockings, and I combined that with the trend of wearing leg warmers over thigh-high tights. One of this character's socks is pink and white striped, and the other sock has a purple and green dripping slime motif. The leg warmers are a darker shade of pink, and the fishnet stockings are black. She's wearing Mary Jane-style shoes with a very thick sole, and I tried to make the leather look shiny. This character is a wheelchair user, and I gave her wheelchair pink spokes and a pink seat, since she would want to match her mobility aid to her outfit. When drawing the wheelchair, I managed to mess up the back wheel, and had to erase part of my outlines and redraw it to make sure the wheel remains round. This wheelchair is meant to be an active model of wheelchair, and I hope I'm getting better at drawing wheelchairs. This is the first time I haven't tried directly tracing an image of a wheelchair, so I hope I got it right. I started my shading process by shading this character's hair, with highlights on her bangs and buns, and shadow behind her neck. I added some shiny highlights to her leather shoes, then began to shade the skin. I found the legs particularly easy to shade in this image, probably because not much skin is actually visible between her skirt and her socks. The rest of my shading process did not get recorded. I'm not sure if I just accidentally stopped the recording without realizing it, or if there was a computer issue. I'm a bit upset about this actually, because while normally the shading process isn't the most interesting part of the drawing, I was really proud of the shading on the hoodie especially. I did get to shade the wheelchair on camera at least, although the shading on the wheelchair isn't particularly interesting. The background is one part of this image that I didn't plan out before starting, and just kind of winged once I got to that stage of the drawing. I ended up putting this character on a tile floor in her home somewhere, with a wall covered in Pastel Goth style artwork and posters behind her. I didn't put a lot of effort into any of the posters, they're just all there to fill out the background. One has a simple graphic of more dripping slime. Another has a pastel rainbow background and a bunch of floating eyeballs, all with differently shaped pupils. I also drew a poster of cartoon bats, a drawing of a ribbon, some strawberry patterned paper, and some skeletons. I finished the image by changing the background wall color from mint green to pink, adding shine to the posters, and adding a bit of shadow around the edges of the drawing. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to the Pastel Goth aesthetic. I'm really happy with my drawing. I like the character design and her style. If you have other aesthetic requests for me to cover, leave them in the comments. Remember to check out my Etsy, where all my Halloween shirts are now 20% off. Until next time, bye!